Yeah, that's better.
I know this horse may look muddy and gross to you, but compared to what it has been for the past week, that's actually pretty good. And the sun is shining, so that's a plus. What's up, guys? It's Lizzie, and let's talk bareback riding. A lot of people don't put much effort into learning how to bareback ride, but it's actually pretty important to learn and to know how to do not just bareback riding, but for your saddle seat too. If you're an equestrian, you're probably at some point going to ride bareback, and if you don't think you're ever going to, well, you should. And here's why. Bareback riding is actually really good for your saddle seat. It can improve your balance and your connection with your horse. Reason 1, having a strong bareback seat can improve your bareback seat tremendously, and one of the reasons is because you see a lot of people putting way too much trust and weight in their saddle to hold them in when the saddle isn't actually there to keep you in your spot, it's just there to keep you comfort and the horse comfort. So what you see a lot is people putting too much weight in their stirrups and leaning too much, and they're not keeping themselves balanced because they're relying too much on the saddle. We learn to stay centered with the horse. You can't off-balance the horse without falling off, so in order not to fall off, you have to stay centered and therefore keeping the horse in balance. But if you had a saddle holding you on, you could sit there halfway off the horse, not fall off, but you could still be putting the horse in discomfort and off balance. So professional saddle fitters actually advise you not to ride bareback long distance, and that is because you have to hold yourself in a certain way that keeps your tailbone from landing on the horse's spine. And that is actually something that bareback pads won't fix, and I actually don't advise using bareback pads because they are a slip hazard if you don't already have a strong bareback seat. Back to what I was saying, because you have to hold yourself in a certain way that keeps your tailbone and their spine from colliding, you can cause long-term discomfort in your back and maybe the horse's back too. So I don't advise going long-distance bareback riding, so note to young yourself. But casual bareback riding won't do anything but help improve your balance and your connection with your horse, and here's why. One of the things you have to learn for riding bareback is the jerky, sudden movements that your horses make. You have to be attuned to what they're doing and thinking so that we can anticipate what they're going to do next. So you can tighten your core or brace yourself, whatever you need to do when the horse takes a sudden step or movement that you weren't expecting. What you see a lot is the horse will turn, the rider's torso will go with them, but their upper body is actually a little bit delayed so that they look a little bit like this when the horse turns. And if that horse was a little bit more sudden in its movements, the rider would be bye-bye. So here are some tools that you can use to help yourself have a better bareback seat. First, let's talk position. A lot of the times you see riders that are sitting too far back, and this is uncomfortable for the horse. This is not their center point. This is not our center point. You're way more likely to bounce because you're closer to the butt, and it's uncomfy. So don't do that. You also don't want to sit on the withers because also uncomfy. Where you want to be is in the horse's balance point, which is right behind the wither. So your leg is going to come down right behind the shoulder of the horse, like right here. So that's where you want your position to be. And a lot of times you'll see riders leaning forward to hold on to the mane or catch themselves before they fall off, because that's what they're going to do if they do that. So don't lean forward. You also see riders leaning back too far, and I don't know, I guess they do that to diffuse the impact of the trot or something. I was guilty of this when I was learning how to sit the trot of my Tennessee Walker, which was very painful. You also don't want to be perfectly straight, and here's why. Remember we talked about not wanting our tailbone to collide with the spine? Well, this is what you do, and this is also why they tell you not to long distance, because this can give you lower back pain if you do it too often. You want your tailbone to actually kind of tuck down a little bit so you're not hitting directly on the spine of the horse. So your back isn't straight, you're just a little bit tucked in your lower back. That's your position. And to embrace the impact of the trot, you're going to let your torso absorb the impact of the trot, but the upper part of your body will be still, as if you were bouncing on a yoga ball. This can also help your trot in the saddle as well. It can also help if you ride with your hands lower, so that if you need to, you can grab on the wither for balance or support. You always have to remember that your thighs are what clamps you onto the horse's back. You never want your butt to leave the horse's back because you don't want any bouncing. But you don't want your knee or below to be at all clamped or tight on the horse, because this can also throw off your balance and cause anxiety and discomfort on the horse. So tight up here, loose down here all the time. You see how much weight I'm putting in my stirrup, and I'm relying on the saddle to keep me up. If I was bareback, I would be on the ground already, because you can't do this bareback. You don't actually want to rely on your stirrups. You want to rely on your seat alone to keep you on top of the horse. If your saddle slips, your cinch breaks, you lose your stirrup or whatever, you're a goner if this is what you're relying on. And I'm exaggerating this, but even just slightly out of alignment with the horse's spine, you can create issues in the horse's back and your back. So this is why you learn how to bareback ride. So you don't ride like this. You don't put too much weight in your stirrup. Your center point is the center of you and the horse, and you don't die that way. Basically, the most important part about learning how to ride bareback is practice and time. Things like instinctive reactive muscles can't be taught. These are just some tips that'll make you think a little before riding bareback or riding at all next time. I hope you guys found this video helpful. I hope this inspired you to work on your bareback seat. If it did, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ding that notification bell. I post new videos every Sunday and you don't want to miss them, so I will see you then. You can also find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. I'll see you all next week. Bye!